Hello and welcome to the first ever EastEnders podcast. My name is Kian.
My name's James.
And we'll be discussing latest news, major plot lines and our theories for the coming weeks. First of all, we're going to go on and talk about the Lucas, Chelsea and Denise storyline currently. So, what do you make of everything that's going on at the moment?
I feel like the storyline is kind of coming to an end, to be honest with you, with the whole Lucas. Obviously, yesterday we saw him be like, oh, okay, I'll take the drugs to Ibiza.
Yeah.
And if he does do that, and I think within that scene especially, the line that kind of hit me is when he goes, it's not like I've got anything left for me on the outside world, is it?
Yeah.
So I don't think he was supposed to be... I don't think Lucas's return was going to be permanent.
No.
I think it's just been like a cameo kind of role, so I think that's the end of the storyline.
I think he might actually get caught, you know. I think he's going to get thrown back into jail, which might actually, you know, it may be the main reason why he doesn't come back. You know, he might get caught and sent down again.
Problem with that, though, is then Caleb's obviously going to want to kill Chelsea, so...
That is the problem, but then that might bring on to the next major storyline. But I think what hits the most about this storyline is Lucas, to be honest. Like, I get what he did, 10, 12 years ago now, was pretty drastic. He murdered quite a lot of people. So it is big. But I think what hits the most is, I guess, just how you can definitely tell from an audience perspective that Lucas has changed. And
I think he's trying to change.
Yeah.
But equally, I still think he's got that aggression inside of him.
But I think with help, and I think he has been getting help in prison as well, I think it's changing a lot.
The thing is, though, is I guess they're kind of doing that thing of, yeah, he might have changed, but that still doesn't take away the fact that he killed like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah, and to be fair, I do understand Chelsea and Denise's view. You know, I can understand they're not just going to be like, they're not going to be like, oh yeah, let's get along with Lucas now because he's done his time. We'll forget about what he's done. It's not as easy as that. But I think the whole situation, I mean, I get Lucas has done wrong, but he has also done his time. So if Chelsea didn't like him the way she made out at the start, then I'm thinking, why get involved with him anyway? You know,
yeah.
Instead, you're trying to get him involved in this drug mule and get him over to Ibiza with all these drugs and set him up, which could potentially land him straight back in prison again. And
the thing is as well with Lucas, though, is because obviously he believes so strongly in his religion.
Yeah.
And obviously before that was what was driving him. He was like, God's telling me to do this, telling me to kill all these people.
Yeah.
And now he's just like, it seems so much like, obviously he wants forgiveness from everyone around him.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, you're not going to get it. So like, why not just start a new life somewhere? I don't know. I think this storyline's kind of, he probably is going to go to prison. Like, it wouldn't be EastEnders if he just got away with it. And especially because getting drugs through an airport is very, very unlikely.
Yeah.
Like, don't think that's going to happen. Especially because it's in a post-COVID world.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like COVID didn't happen in the series, so...
Yeah, no. I think with theories, then, I actually have a feeling, Lucas and Chelsea are going to get to the airport, and Lucas is going to get Chelsea to go through security, because, once you're through security, you can't come back through the other end. So I think they're going to get to security. Chelsea's going to go through, like, the little gates.
Yeah.
And then Lucas is going to turn around and do a runner. By that point, Chelsea can't do anything. And I reckon Lucas might actually do a runner. Because I can sense that, you know, he's already done time in prison, and I know for a fact he wouldn't have enjoyed that, so he's not going to want to risk him going back to prison. So I think he's going to turn around and do a runner. But
then surely there is a way for them to get back. Like, obviously it can't be once you're past the gate, that's it, you're stuck in an airport.
No. Once you're past the gates, the only way you can get back to where you were is if you've flown back from the country.
Seriously?
Yeah. Once you're through security, you can't come back through, because that defeats the purpose of security. So.
But then what if you got through and then found out your flight was cancelled?
Well, that's a different story, because if your flight's cancelled, then they're gonna round up all the people with their flights and then bring them back through. And basically put them in hotels. But I digress anyway, because we're doing an EastEnders podcast.
Yeah, let's not talk about airports.
Yeah, but that's my theory. I think Lucas might turn around and do a runner.
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be something with him. It's that, or he will get arrested, and the Caleb story will get dragged out. But
I think either. Yeah, I actually agree with you there. Maybe Chelsea is willing to put herself at risk by dobbing Lucas into the police at the airport, and then he gets arrested right in front of her.
Quite possibly. It's not bad.
The only issue is, with all the COVID stuff that's going on at the moment, whether or not that will actually happen, because obviously I don't think they're going to be able to film in an airport. So whether or not that's going to happen is, because
it's even things like, because all of like the weddings that they've done, they haven't, and even Chantel's funeral, there wasn't a funeral.
Yeah,
there wasn't one, because they can't film it. So it could be very well that they're going to go and do it, and then I don't know. We don't know, do we? We don't know. It could be that they'll probably just do a time jump and be like,
well, it's either that or because obviously there's barely any flights going anywhere, so there's barely any passengers in the terminal. They might be able to get access. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They might be able to, but we have to wait and see. To be honest.
Yeah. To be honest, it's not my favourite storyline right now.
No, it's not.
Like, I want to see where Gray goes.
I thought it was interesting to see Denise, though. You know, trapped again, basically being bought, going into basically flashback mode. She's feeling exactly what she felt, 10 years ago. But I think this again is a big reason why I feel like Lucas is changing, because straight away Jack, Chelsea, Kim, not Lucas, Patrick all thought Lucas did it, and we find out it wasn't Lucas. We find out it was Caleb, and I think this is why I think the storyline needs to come to a close now. But anyway, next point we're going on to is Gray. This is an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't really know where they're going with this.
I don't, and I agree with what you said to me the other day, where they probably should have done it where Chantel got out. But at the same time, I think it's interesting to see that that sort of thing can happen to people. The abuse gets so much that it leads to something as drastic as getting killed. And I think that not scare people, but raise awareness. Like, do you want to be that person who, alright, the abuser might have not meant to chuck you onto a load of knives. I think it's quite obvious when Gray actually pushed Chantel, he didn't mean for her to fall on the knives.
No, but he meant to hurt her.
He meant to hurt her, but he didn't mean to kill her. But
No, but now I think he's kind of. It seems like he's rather than because before he was so like in denial of all his anger, and it seems like now he almost like he doesn't give a shit that he's killed his wife because he literally was like, she didn't listen to me, she deserved it, and it's like what?
Yeah, no, he's definitely changed. But I think at the start, I know people will probably be like, well, shouldn't Chantal got out? But I think it raises more of an awareness point that, you know, they can, you know, not everybody makes it out, you know? And I think
Most people don't.
Exactly, and I think that is a good way to raise awareness and be like, right, okay, do you want to be this person who's going to fall and die? No. So run while you still can, essentially.
What's that? I think it's to make also people check on other people.
Exactly.
Because like, especially in lockdown, there was a lot of couples that were obviously trapped inside with their partners, and that would, you know, that would have been horrific. But I think the problem with the storyline now is they've gone away from it completely, like the point of it, and it's like.
But I think that's the issue, because there was only two people that actually thought that Gray killed Chantal, and that was Chantal's dad and Kira. That was it.
And then they kind of dropped it.
You know, but nobody would believe. Nobody would believe them two. So there was no reason to go over the story, I think, and that's why I think it's dragged out. But
I think
you know, everybody that says I think Chantal should have got out alive, I think other soaps have done it, like Coronation Street, Emmerdale. Other soaps have achieved that already. I think it was good that EastEnders took a different turn to this sort of abuse storyline and actually gave something different to. But
sort of like, rather than, because I guess seeing them escape is like, oh well, that's too easy.
Yeah.
Whereas seeing her not escape is like, well, shit, that's the reality I'm in.
Yeah, exactly.
I need to get out.
I agree with you. I do think it's kind of come away from the storyline, but I think it was interesting how Tina just straight away knew that Gray was a load of trouble.
She was abused by her partner.
Exactly. So she knows that. And I think that's also an interesting point as well. You know, they don't need to go over the same sort of abuse storyline again. Tina got out, so Chantal doesn't get out, you know? It's showing how there's different circumstances to different things. But, you know, I think it might show now that Gray is just becoming more and more angry by himself for killing Chantal. He's just turning into a murderer.
I'm just glad they're not doing the whole redemption thing, because they started to do a redemption arc, and it was like a lot of people, including myself, were like, shit, like, can we move past it if he is actually trying to change? But then a week later, he was back to beating her up. So
yeah, no,
he was back to, you're a twat.
But the theories I have for it, to be honest, I think it's obviously we know that he's killed Tina. We know that she's dead now, and we've found out in the early episodes of this week that there is basically a Tina lookalike homeless person who I guess he's paying to be Tina.
Yeah. But now, obviously, it's to throw the scent off, isn't it? But
yeah,
if anything, he's made it worse.
I think he has.
Shirley's now gone down to where that area was, and I reckon she's not going to find anything. Come back and be like she's on to Grey 100%.
Oh no, she is. She definitely knows that Grey's done wrong. There's no doubt about it. I think it's interesting to see that, and I think a theory that I have is obviously this Tina, well, I say Tina, the homeless person, is going to basically do a runner on Grey's orders. I think it's interesting. And I think what might happen is that Grey is essentially gonna find the real Tina's body and be like, basically act like, oh shit, I've just found a dead body and it's Tina's, what do I do? I think that's going to be an interesting story, because obviously if Shirley goes down there and there's no Tina to be spotted, then it's going to look a bit sus. So I think Grey's going to do something to try and cover that up, and I think that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's a possibility, but I reckon it'll backfire if he does.
Oh yeah,
because then they're going to be like, bit convenient.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. I think there's not really much more we can talk on the Grey storyline, really, can we?
No. What else have we got? Whittney and Kush.
Yeah. So, that was a bit weird.
Yeah, forced. I think it's just a bit. I think they've got two characters that they don't know what to do with anymore.
I do feel like, though, it's kind of been something that's building since the whole Leo thing.
Yeah.
I think that might seem a bit far-fetched, because obviously Kush was with Kat at the time. But I think that was the only thing that was holding them two back, was just because Kush was with Kat. Well, now Kat's kicked Kush out. He's got no one. And I think that's what's brought them closer together. But I think if you just look back to February of last year, and you see how Kush just pushes Leo over the edge to basically protect Whittney. And basically put himself at risk, because that could have risked him going down for GBH, you know? I think that's what's brought them closer together. But whether or not it will go anywhere, I have no idea. To be honest, you know, Kush and Whittney, I don't see them being a match.
Well, Kush is leaving anyway, so I think it will just be a one-off.
I think
it'll be a one-off,
unless if it's a thing where they get together and, you know, the whole trial thing turns out he is guilty and he gets sent down, so then that's just what splits them apart again. So it could be a good few weeks, and then that's it. That's literally it. I think that might happen. But other than that, that's literally all we got on the Whittney and Kush situation. Yeah. So let's move on to the Linda basically blackmailing Sharon last night. That was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what to think of it. I think that... I think Sharon's a twat. I don't like her anymore.
No, I agree.
I used to like her, but not anymore.
I think the issue is Sharon's been in the show since the very, very start. Like, since the first episode of EastEnders aired in 1985, she was in it. And I think they're struggling to find ways to give her character the way that it was back in 1985. You know, it's difficult. But I think, you know, I think it's understandable why Sharon did what she did to Ian to a certain extent. Because Ian did lock Dennis in a room, which, when the boat was going down. But I think the issue is, the reason why the boat went down was as a result of Sharon cheating on Phil with Keanu. So Keanu and Phil had a fight on the boat, which caused the boat to crash in the end because they moved the wheel. Ian didn't know the boat was going to go down, which caused Dennis to drown. And Ian did ultimately go and try and get him out. So it's not Ian's fault. You know, Ian was trying to punish Dennis for putting a load of abuse of Bobby all over the internet. You know, I think...
Beating up, isn't it?
You know, exactly. So, you know, Dennis did deserve what he got. And then when the boat was going down, I think Ian was like, oh shit, I need to go and save him. And he did just that. So I think from Sharon's perspective, she might not ultimately believe Ian. But I think at the end of the day, I think Sharon should think, hang on, I've been friends with this guy for ages. And we you know...
Yeah.
I think she should probably ultimately just think, I don't think he would have done this on purpose, And I think now Sharon knows about the whole Dennis abusing Bobby situation with his faith. I think that should have clicked straight away. Be like, hang on, this could have been Ian's comeback.
She did eventually, didn't she? Because eventually she was like, he started eating the food to kill himself.
Exactly, and then she tried stopping him. So, but I think from last night's episode, we know that Ian's alive now. And then we've got the whole Linda blackmailing Sharon situation, because obviously we know that Ian handed full rights of the pub over to Sharon. And I think out of payback, because what Sharon did, although I don't think at first Sharon was the ultimate reason why Ian got attacked, because I don't think she actually, looking back on the episodes, I don't think Sharon actually knew about the whole Dennis in the boat situation until after he got attacked. So, that wasn't his fault. That wasn't her fault. That was Phil's. But I think the cover-up, which ultimately broke down the Carter's family, is her fault. And I think Linda's just basically getting her own back. And I think Sharon deserves it.
If Sharon didn't do it, everything would be normal, really.
Exactly.
Tina wouldn't have left. Tina wouldn't be dead at the end of the day.
Exactly. And I think the only reason that happened, it happened for a reason. It was only because Linda was talking to Mick in the pub, and Mick was just like, "This is my baby. I love this place. I feel like I can be normal in this place." And Linda's just like, "I've got an idea. Why don't I blackmail Sharon, basically, to get the pub back?"
Well, at the end, speaking of Sharon and Linda, actually, the one thing I also want to comment on, though, is how with like Max and Linda, and obviously Max now knows that Mick was abused, and I feel like, because obviously he's just like, oh, she's only back with him because of that. She doesn't love him.
Oh yeah, I think that's gonna. I think Max is gonna do what he usually did, right? What he usually does, and he's just gonna get involved and be like, he'll turn around to Linda and be like, "Is this true then?" And then she'll be like, "What? You're only back with Mick because he got abused. You don't actually love him, do you? You actually love me and all that." And I think Linda's just going to turn around and be like, "No, to be honest, I've always loved him. The issue is, like, I felt like he didn't love me at the time. So our relationship wasn't going anywhere further." So I think that's where she was just like, although ultimately it was wrong, Mick let her because Mick thought he couldn't do anything for her anymore. And I think, yes, there's a big, yes, she was right, no, she was wrong sort of thing going on. But had Linda have known at the time that Mick was going through all this, she would have been like, right, she wouldn't have been able to feel less helpful and be able to help Mick more. And basically just give him all the support needed. And, ever since Mick has told her, which was New Year's, I think it was.
Yeah, he's been fine.
He's been fine, and he's been getting better, essentially. And now he's told the police everything, and is going down the different routes. So I don't know if Max is going to use that to his advantage or not, but it's evidently not going to go in his favour.
I think what I've read is that Mick has a fight with him or punches him or something.
Oh,
because
that's fun.
Obviously, Max is I can't stand Max.
No,
honestly.
I can't.
I'm fed up with the whole pity party and the whole like, oh, Linda left me. It's like, mate, like you
she was
own
never
her.
with you.
She was never with you. She was married to Mick.
I can't remember what he said, but last night he said, well, if none of this would have happened, we'd still be together and all that. And I'm just like, but you wouldn't. Just think about it. They're a married couple. You just wouldn't. Like, you should have known it wasn't going to work. And just trying to force us to go to New Zealand and everything at the time was just not right. You know, it was going way too quick. If they did have a chance to basically throw Linda an idea to go to New Zealand to see basically Max's grandson, that is literally it. Just literally a week after they basically were starting to do stuff together. I think it's interesting to see the whole situation evolve.
I think the thing I hate the most though is how Jack is supposed to be Mick's best friend, and he's not annoyed at Max. He's fully just like, "Oh, I'm sorry about Linda." Like,
no. You'd see at the start that it went, because I think Jack only found out last week, didn't he? You know, about the whole Mick and Linda situation. So
he found out yesterday, didn't he?
Well, whenever he... No. I think it was last week. And I think he was quite angry. He was like, why do you have to keep doing this and all that? Like, why? Why do you have to keep wrecking marriages? And I think the issue is, with Jack being Max's brother, he's obviously got that sense of care. And you can see where, you know, the whole plotline of Abby dying, you know, I think you can still see it's affecting Max a lot. So I think there is there's a certain degree of Jack is angry, but also he needs to be caring because he doesn't want to push his brother to do something stupid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we've talked about Sharon and Ian, to be honest. I don't think their marriage actually worked that well.
God, no.
You know,
no, not in a million years.
we know why they got married. You know, when I was watching it back, Ian was asking her to marry him for the sake of he doesn't want Sharon to go empty-handed. He wanted Sharon to have something just in case he died, so she had legal reign over it. That was it. They never actually loved each other, which is why I find it really weird now where Sharon's just like, well, he's my husband, I'm going to care about him. I was like, but that wasn't the reason why you got married in the first place. You got married because you wanted, because Ian was worried he was going to die and he wanted you to have legal reign over everything. So,
yeah,
that's a weird thing. But I think we've covered everything throughout the week, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well,
to next week.
Thank you guys for watching or listening to... Well, no, it is watching, isn't it? Thank you guys for watching this podcast. It's greatly appreciated. We will be back next week for some more EastEnders podcasts. So, other than that, we shall see you all later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.